Hi, I'm Aiden. I'm 24. I'm a transgender guy and I work for the NHS. Trans people are here. We do exist. We do exist as well within churches and sort of spiritual, religious Christian spaces. From like 8 or 9, I had always been a tomboy growing up and had never really realised. It had maybe, I think when I was maybe 17, a couple of times the thought had kind of flitted across my mind, oh, maybe you're not a girl, maybe you're trans, maybe you're a guy. But I immediately shut that down because the religious sort of ingrained part of me that had been brought up that way just went, oh, no, whoa, big, scary, no, we can't do that. My mental health took a major downturn when I eventually realised that I'm trans, and not just realised it, but accepted it about myself. I ended up then, had to drop out of uni, severe depression and psychosis because my whole world just got flipped upside down. And I got home, I came out to my parents as gay at first to see what the reaction would be, because I thought, well, if they can deal with that, I'll maybe give them a couple of weeks to let that sink in, and then I'll tell them I'm transgender. You know, test one and then try the other. I was raised in the Methodist church. I went from I was like 3 years old and I got up to about the age of 15. And I think like most kids that are brought up in church, you hit your teenage years and you kind of go, I want to do what my friends are doing that don't go to church. Like I want to explore, I want to, try something different. I'm sick of going to church every week. So I cut all ties with church at 15. At about the age of sort of 18, 19, I first discovered what LGBT was. I didn't realise my upbringing had been as sheltered as it had been. When I got to uni, it was just this big whole new world got open to me, and I kind of realised and went, okay, maybe that explains why I feel that way. I'd always understood that if you weren't straight and you weren't cisgendered, then you were in big trouble with God. You were a sinner and you had to repent, and there was something wrong with you. So I ended up referred to the gender clinic and went a few times and was getting comfortable with the fact, okay, I'm transgender. So I'm a guy. My body's different to a cisgender guy, a guy that's born and classified as male from birth. But I still hadn't wrapped my head around sexuality. I'd started sort of seeing a guy on and off, and my brain at that point was telling me, no, well, if you're with a guy, no, you can't be in a gay relationship, that's still sinful. So I chickened out of the gender clinic and ended up going back in the closet. So I would have been 21, so you're looking about 3 years ago. I went back to the church I grew up in. I grew my hair out to like here, and I was trying to do makeup and the short skirts and all and be really girly, and I'd never in my life been that girly. I still didn't feel I was 100% straight, and I kind of thought, right, I should probably tell the minister, because I don't know entirely what the church's policy on this is, but I was a leader at Youth Fellowship and I was a leader at the kids' youth club. So the response to that was, you can still like do leadership, that's fine, but if you get in a relationship, a same-sex relationship, you must step down. We did Christmas break for the youth club. I came back in January and had got my hair undercut and shaved, was kind of dressing more androgynously. I remember so scared after Bible study on a Wednesday night going to the minister, and when I eventually managed to get the 3 words I am trans out of my mouth, the minister laughed and I sort of looked at her and I went, what? And she was like, you do realise everybody's known that for years? The long and the short of that was that just because I was trans, whether I was single or not, I had to stop doing leadership for any of those organisations. The next person to tell was the youth pastor. She was totally cool with it, and she said, well, what are you going to do then in terms of church? I was like, I've basically been told that it's either you walk out the door, or if you come out, there's a very real risk that people would literally pick you up, throw you out the door, even though they've known you for like all your life. I've been told I'm not allowed to do youth fellowship, I'm not allowed to do anything, I'm going to have to literally just disappear, I can't even tell people why I'm leaving. She said, why should you have to leave just because of a few people? And I was like, I don't want to cause an issue, okay? I don't want to make people uncomfortable, and I think that's what people fail to understand. And I find it more coming in as transgender, that people think you're doing it just to get attention or to be like, oh, look at me, I'm so different, but it's not, because we're just trying to live our life the same as everybody else. We're trying to do our faith the same as everybody else. I didn't go to church then for a few years. I struggled so hard to find somewhere to go. In the end, I wound up in Harbour Community up in Carrickfergus, and I walked in and introduced myself as Aiden and as a guy, which felt great. My family weren't, and unfortunately still aren't, supportive. They have their beliefs, and it's taken me a while to realise it's not my job to change their beliefs. I have to just be the way I am, the way that God's made me, and kind of just get on with it. Because when I left the church initially, I also kind of need to leave for my own sanity, because I was still dealing with coming out. A few weeks ago, I got a message from the youth pastor at the church I grew up in, the Methodist church. They were doing a worship evening on a Sunday, and she invited me along. And I was like, okay, because I'd said to her, I will be back one day, and I'm coming back as Aiden, that's it. And I messaged her back, I said, thanks for the invite. What on earth am I walking back into potentially here? And she said, like, very few people knew after you came out, so you're probably going to have to explain to people. She said, but I've got your back. You'll be fine. Even being given that opportunity to explain and say, like, well, the reason I disappeared 2.5 years ago was because I came out as transgender. I had a lot on my plate, and so many people were like, oh, right, okay. And while, yes, for the guts of, what would it be, like 20 odd years, they'd known me by a different name and by different pronouns, they're starting to make the effort. It's been great for me to go back and to know that people are willing to make the effort, because a lot of the fear around church is, are they going to listen to me? Are they going to treat me the same? Or if I come out, are they going to outright reject me? Having people who I know get the faith side of me and get that and will call me Aiden. Okay, there's a few little adjustments about names and pronouns and stuff, but in terms of faith, I've just been incredibly lucky that I'm now regaining that support network. I guess the first biggest one was figuring it out for myself, and how does that marry up or align with my faith? Because my faith was it's a big part of me, but at the same time, my gender and sexuality are also two parts of me, and how they kind of all affect each other. Your gender and your sexuality, that's not a choice. I identify as asexual, so I could be romantically attracted to somebody, but there's not necessarily a desire to be sexual with them. And whether that's, I think part of it is my dysphoria and discomfort with my own body as it is at the moment, not feeling totally confident with my sexuality. While intimacy may not be physical, it can be emotional, and it can also be spiritual with another person. I know that in terms of my faith, that God's made me this way, and it doesn't matter what other people may say or have their beliefs. If that's their belief, that's fine, and it's not my job to change that. I think the most important thing would have been if somebody had said, right, I'm here with you, and even if that meant they're just sitting beside me, and if I want to talk, I can talk. If I don't want to talk, I don't have to talk. Think before you speak, and even if you're coming from a place of love, just try to put yourself in the other person's shoes. You may feel, oh, I need to correct this person, they're going down a sinful path, but in reality, you might be doing more harm than good. If you're from a faith background, maybe pray about it before you say something. And anything you do say to me, to my mind, it should be only to encourage somebody in their walk of faith, never to try and drag them down. Just think, is this what Jesus would say to build somebody up in their relationship with him, or is it not? Because if it's not, chances are you probably shouldn't say it. In the future, I would love to be able to get on testosterone and love to get top surgery so that my body aligns more outwardly with who I am. Yeah, I have been very lucky that I've found somewhere I've belonged. I've had to kind of step away from it and then go back to it. But I do have that. I belong there in that Methodist church. I belong at Spectrum as well. And I would say for church communities going forward, so that others can feel the sense of belonging I have, the main thing is try to be open and see past the theology. Try not to be blindsided by it and think, if somebody comes out in your church, don't look at them and go, oh, well, here, what does the Bible say about that immediately? Don't reach for that, because words taken out of context and without emotion can do so much damage. I would say for the future Northern Ireland, my hopes would be, that we're included fully, and it's not just, oh, you can come along, we're having a pride service. I would love to have it one day that we don't have to have Spectrum, because we're labelled specifically as an LGBT plus group, which is great, and I think it's needed right now, because for people like me who are LGBT, we don't feel secure, we don't feel comfortable walking into a church. We're always scared that somebody's going to clock us and figure out, or somebody's going to have a go. And I would love for Northern Ireland that it's just church, it's just Christians, it's just people. There seems to be a tension and a fear in churches that LGBT people will come in, and if you don't get the pronouns right straight away, or if you say something, that we're going to attack you. That's not what it is. See the human, see the person that God has created, and love them as they are. Don't try and change them or mold them into something they're not. First of all, to just raise awareness. I'm sure for years people have been aware there's lesbian and gay Christians, but there's others of us in that community. It's the LGBT plus community. So there are transgender Christians like myself. We're not a theological debate. We're not a theological issue. We exist. The main thing I know a lot of LGBT people want to do is we want to educate others. Don't be scared to ask us questions. Obviously do it respectfully, because I know for someone like me who's transgender, it can get very personal, very intimate about my body very quickly. People don't talk about this, and if this even on a basic educational level gets people talking to get people informed, then as far as I'm aware, that's all for the better.